Hi everyone, and welcome to our third and final Hangout on Air in the Online Marketing 101 course. I'm Coco, I'm an AdWords specialist here at Google, and he needs no introduction, but we've got Avinash here with us today, a digital marketing evangelist here at Google. We hope you've enjoyed the course thus far, from the AdWords and campaigns, ad groups, keywords, and ad text that you learned about this week. There's a lot to learn with AdWords, but we hope that you are ready to sort of get started, and we're going to answer some of the questions that you posed this week in the community. So let's just jump right in. Thanks for joining us today, Avinash.
Of course, thank you, Coco.
Happy to have you as always. So one other thing before we get started, as you're watching, if you have live questions, feel free to post those in the community. Some of our TAs are there standing by, and they'll send me those questions live if you have them. So if anything comes up that Avinash says that sort of piques your interest, send those questions our way. But let's jump into it. So we had a question this week that sort of got a lot of discussion in the community, and it was, how do you decide which budget to start out with in your campaign? And do you have any advice on convincing management that the money should go towards AdWords and not something else?
Yeah. So let's do those in two different pieces. So let's do the management bit first. And so your budget should go to an area of marketing that performs the best. That's really important. And one of the things that search engines have in their favor is that a lot of people who come to a search engine and type things have a particular intent. So they express a qualification that, hey, I'm looking for a beautiful sparkly guest, which Coco is looking so beautiful today. And so when she goes to Google and types that in, like, wow. So I don't have to convince you to be interested in a new dress. You're already looking for it. And that intention often means that you want to get in front of her because she's looking for something, and it converts at a higher rate when it comes to your site. If you have a tool like Google Analytics that gives you an understanding of all your marketing, there is a report in Google Analytics called All Traffic Sources. And what it shows you are all your marketing channels, and it shows the visits, it shows the page views, bounce rates, etc. But on the top navigation, there is a link called Goal Conversion. Click on that. What happens is it'll show you all your marketing programs and how well they convert for you. And take that report to your manager and say, I would like to invest more in AdWords because it converts for us at a higher rate. I would like to invest more in email because it converts at a higher rate. But let data be your guide. Oftentimes, it is very wise to have a good search engine optimization and paid search strategy because the conversions are higher rate because of the higher intent that is present. But I would focus on that report and use data, because at Google, we believe in using data to convince people. So that's answering the second part of the question. The first part of the question was, how much budget should I allocate? And my view at the highest level is you should figure out if you're making a profit on the keywords that you're bidding on. So let's say we're going to bid on sparkly dresses in white and golden shiny things. Let's say that's our keyword, and we bid on it, and Coco will come to our site and she will convert, and it is as a result of her purchase, your purchase, Coco, we made $500. Wow, that's what we really can't do.
I like expensive things.
But that's really cool. So now I'm like, how much budget should I have for that keyword for my sparkly dress? Right. I would say infinity, right? Because if I'm making money, then your budget should be infinity, or the amount of material you have to make the dresses. So that's at the highest level, think about that. If you are making money, budget should not be an issue, because you're saying, how poor do I want to be? And then, one day, just make as much money as you can. When you initially get into AdWords and you're initially starting out, we have in the AdWords keyword tool, we have you can type in a keyword, or your website URL will find the keywords for you, and we give you rough ideas of what the cost per clicks are. We give you a rough idea of what it takes for you to show up, etc., etc. Use that to determine your initial budget and say, I'm experimenting, and it looks like it's $3 cost per click. I'm not sure if these people are going to convert. So my initial budget will be $500. And it's just $3. So I'm going to use $500. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to see how my ads are working. And the people come to my site. I'll see if they convert, and then I'll ramp up my budget. So use the AdWords keyword tool to get a rough idea of what the cost looks like, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah. And one thing that's important to note is that the budget you said is on a campaign level, and it's on a daily level. So if you have, let's say, $300 you want to spend on a monthly level on AdWords, then divide that up by the days in the month and how many campaigns you have, and then that should, be the budget that you set for the campaign.
Yes.
So.
And get into some kind of analytics reports right away, whether you use the AdWords conversion tracker, which is wonderful, or you use the free Google Analytics tool, because then some of this budget stuff goes away, because you say, hey, am I making money or am I not making money?
Exactly.
Boom.
Yeah. And just going back to the sort of management question, a lot of you may be small businesses, and you may just be trying to convince your management to even get online. And to start with that, maybe you've been doing newspaper, billboards, or other sort of offline marketing. All of those things are great too, but online marketing really allows you to do the things that Avinash is talking about, be able to measure where you're making money, where it's coming from, how the users are converting, and that's really powerful data to be able to use.
So it's always nice in life to move away from faith and to data. Although in our personal lives, we should stick with faith, and that's good.
Life lessons from Avinash. Perfect. Well, this sort of is along the same money lines, but so you set the budget at the campaign level, but then you also set bids on your keywords. So Sanjeev asked, how do you decide where to start out bidding for a specific keyword?
So the AdWords keyword tool will give you an initial approximate estimate for what your bid should be. And so I would use that as a guidance. But it's important to understand that there are actually there are hundreds of factors, but there are two important factors that are in play when it comes to have your ad show up and what position it shows up in. One important factor are the bids. Yeah. So if the AdWords keyword tool says, the rough bids for this on average are $3 and you bid 50 cents, it may not go anywhere, right? So you at least have to be competitive. But there is another very important factor at play, and it's called the quality score. What the quality score looks into play are a couple of very important things. It looks at the copy of your ad. So if we search for sparkly dresses, how good is your copy, and is it tied to sparkly dresses, or the copy is about tires?
Yeah.
That's not going to get rated.
It's not what I want.
So is the copy relevant to the keyword? And this is where sort of your campaigns, ad groups, and structure comes into play. So ad copy. The second thing is the relevance of the landing page. So for all your ads, we'll go quickly scan your landing pages and make sure if you're bidding on sparkly pages, is the landing page about sparkly pages? Does it have a big button that is for add to cart or things like that? So we use various signals to compute the quality score. And in the end, what you actually pay AdWords is a combination of these two things, your quality score and your bid. So it is often possible that Coco might be bidding $3.50 and I am bidding $2.50. But my quality score is really high and Coco's quality score is really low. Actually, my ad might be ranked higher by Google than even Coco's ad. So it's very important to understand that with AdWords, your sheer ability to pay does not determine if your ad will show up higher or lower. It is your ability to pay plus create a very good ad and a very good landing page that loads really quickly. And the more you focus on improving your quality score, actually the more chances increase that even at competitive or slightly less than competitive bids, possibly your ad might even show up higher. So it's very important to remember there are two things and not just one.
Oh yeah, exactly. And One other thing just to note is that whatever you set your bid at is not necessarily what you're for sure going to pay.
That's right.
So you don't have to say, oh goodness, I need to know exactly, what I'm going to pay here, because AdWords is an auction model.
That's right.
So you're going to pay whatever it takes to beat the person under you. So, use the data that Avinash is talking about to figure out, are you getting the position you want with this bid? Is the quality score good for this keyword? And then you can sort of adjust your bid accordingly.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. All right, great stuff. Well, our next question comes from Billy. And Billy asks, how do we know when our customers are searching? So like time of day,
Yep.
day of the week.
So we actually are really blessed in that we have all this data in our analytics tool. So at the very top of the graph on the right-hand side, you will see a distribution and 4 buttons. And the 4 buttons will be daily, weekly, monthly. The very first one is hourly. It's hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. So you can press on one of those buttons, and it helps you understand the distribution of clicks. And Billy has asked a very good question, because depending on the business, actually the most amount of your traffic might be actually coming on the weekend. It might actually be coming early in the hours, because it turns out you are West Coast heavy or East Coast heavy, or a lot of the traffic is in Japan rather than America, things like that. So it is very important to use the day part reports that actually show you when you get the visits and when you get the conversions, and use that to target your audience. One of my key learnings in my earlier job was that while we were selling tax software, and you would not think so, one of our highest interest days were actually on the Super Bowl Sunday.
Really?
Because now you're like, wait, everybody's watching TV on Super Bowl Sunday,
Yeah.
or preparing meals and getting together with the family. But it turns out a large population of our audience for tax preparation are women. It's clearly women are smarter than men. We know that.
I'm not going to dispute you there.
They do all the hard work. They do all the taxes. Men are just not doing any of it. So actually, while some of the men folk were watching TV, etc., and wasting their time, the wonderful, responsible women folk in our audience, at least, were actually going on Google, searching for tax software, actually buying it on Super Bowl Sunday. We would not have known that unless we had followed Billy's advice to actually look at our traffic by weekdays and weekends and within the day and what hours, and use that to then optimize our AdWords ads.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That is so interesting. And one feature that we've rolled out in the past few months is you now have the ability to set bid adjustments by time of day. So once you have this data and you know when they're searching, what time of day they're searching, you can actually bid more aggressively for certain times to capture a greater sort of slice of that audience. So excellent to have that. So sort of jumping a little bit off the bid and budget sort of discussion, David asks, is a Google Plus page good for my business? And sort of related to that, does it affect my organic ranking?
So the second question is more walking on thin ice. So I would just say that there are a lot of factors that go into play when it comes to how highly you're ranked organically. And one of those factors are your social presence and the activity on the social presence. So it is definitely important, but it's not the sole determinator, or we can't say it's a big or small, things like that. It's a determinator. It's important. Where I think it's really important is that, for example, I search for the Four Seasons Hotel. I love the Four Seasons Hotel. I love staying there. And so when I search for the Four Seasons Hotel, because they have a very active presence on Google+, the one box shows up on the right-hand side of search results, where we actually show a brief bio of the Four Seasons Hotel. We show some photos. Underneath it, we show their latest Google+ entry. We show how many people follow them. So in that sense, on Google.com, you get social endorsements in the organic results on the right-hand side. And if there were any ads, they move down, right? Because you capture that real estate. But it only happens if you have a strong, vibrant social presence and that you're active on it. So if you have an active Google Plus presence, you get that box. It's a really great way to actually have that happen. The other way in which, in a subtle way, that this affects things that most people don't understand is, so I'm on Google Plus, and Coco is on Google Plus, and Coco is my friend. And I have a lot of pictures of Lake Tahoe, and I like Credit Karma. It's a great place where you can go get free credit reports, completely free without credit cards. That's anyway. Small plug to those guys. Anyway, we're not connected anyway, but I like them, right? So let's say on my Google Plus, and Coco and I are connected, blah blah blah, and I also like Credit Karma on Google Plus, right? Mm-hmm. So now Coco goes into Google.com and she says credit card reporting services as an example. Now, actually, Google knows that Coco and I are friends, and we have a following on Google Plus, and that I have already +1 Credit Karma on Google Plus. Actually, Credit Karma's results might show up higher for Coco with my little face on it. my face will be on the search results for Credit Karma.
Yeah.
And then it'll say, Avinash, your friend, has +1 Credit Karma, which means that even if Credit Karma is number 3 in organic results, Coco's face might be attracted to my face just because it's there, right? It's there. And so, oh, my friend likes Credit Karma, so I'm actually going to click on that link.
Yeah.
And all that was possible only because Credit Karma has a Google Plus presence where I have +1 them, and that in turn helps them show up for my friends of circle. And it's a very subtle, hidden benefit where they rise up in results. Also, they get my endorsement right in there for their brand, and it causes higher number of clicks. It's just one of the things. There are also in AdWords, we have social annotations, and we find, and we have said this publicly, that there are about 10 to 13% higher click-through rates on ads with social annotations in AdWords. Again, those social annotations are only possible if you have a Google Plus presence. So all in all, organic, paid search, very good benefits for a business that is active on Google Plus.
Exactly. If you know your friends are liking it, you'll probably click on it too.
Exactly.
Definitely good. So we've talked a lot, not just in this Hangout on Air, but other ones we've done, about analyzing the data.
Yes.
What you should do. John has a really good question. How do you know when you're over-analyzing data and when the results aren't statistically significant?
So let's take those into two different pieces, right? Because they're two different things. Over-analyzing happens a lot. I have said in both of my books, I have said this, that for the longest time in humanity, we did not have enough data. Like, we could blame any level of incompetence on not having enough data.
Yeah.
Like, if only I had more data, I would not suck, right? Now the challenge is we have more data than God wants anybody to have. Too much data. So how do you focus? And so the way to focus is to clearly understand what your business objectives are. This is very, very important. So I have developed a process I call the digital marketing and measurement model. And maybe we'll link to it in the post, in the videoing annotations, or we'll post it on the forum, a link to that blog post. Because what it does is it walks you through a 5-step process that takes you from your business objectives to the strategies to achieve those objectives to your 5 or less key performance indicators, targets, and segments. And what happens in that case, if you walk through the process with your boss, or if you're a small business, with your mom, who is your boss, right, who gave you money to start your business, it doesn't really matter. And you literally, it takes like maybe an hour, but on a single, it fits on one single page. And you basically say, this is what is important to my business, and these 5 or less, usually 4 metrics are the only ones that are important to me.
Yeah.
And that allows you to focus. That allows you to get rid of the data overload and just focus on those 5 metrics. And Billy, that's really the best way for you to focus and do the critical few things that will drive your business. I have often said, even in my speeches, that if I come see you, I'm going to ask you, do you have a digital marketing and measurement model? If you don't have the digital marketing measurement model, I know that you have no idea what the hell you're doing on the internet. And it's really true.
Yeah.
Because you don't have focus, you don't have strategy. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah.
With regards to statistical significance, that's actually very important, especially if you're a small business or a medium-sized business.
Yeah.
Statistical significance is a very complex topic. So we will link to a blog post I have written on that topic that goes in detail. At the end of the blog post, I have an Excel model. So there's a Microsoft Excel model that you can download. Then you can take data from AdWords or data from Google Analytics or your email campaigns or whatever. You can put into that Excel model. It will help you compute statistical significance. But it's a slightly advanced topic. So we'll link to the post and we'll allow you guys to just download the model and use it for yourself.
Yeah, well, just to follow up on that, I know we've talked a lot about, your conversion numbers, but what are some other data points that you would maybe put in those 4 to 5 indicator buckets that you can find in your AdWords account that people should pay attention to?
So in terms of AdWords, the things that I absolutely passionately focus on, if I'm just getting started, I might look at impressions, right? Because I'll say, hey, do I even show up? Right? Yeah. Because I'm not showing up, that sucks. But very quickly, I migrate over to things like click-through rate. Because I want to understand what is causing my ads to get clicks and what is not causing. Sometimes it's bids, sometimes it's budget, sometimes it's ad copy, sometimes it's my use of site links, local extension, social extension. Yeah. All these wonderful options in AdWords. All of that increases click-through rate because my goal is to really, really focus and ensure I get a lot of clicks for my ads, not just that I show up. So click-through rate is a very important metric that I use for AdWords. Okay. And the next metric that I'll end up using is my cost per click. So if I'm starting on, I want to keep a close eye on cost per click to make sure that my cost per click is really good. Then once people come to your site, then I'll compare 2 metrics that are available in Google Analytics, which is your cost per click and your revenue per click. Okay. So that helps you understand, okay, I paid $3 for this click, and I made $45. So that's good. So I understand that that's going really well. Yeah. And in between those 2 things, we have metrics like bounce rates. It essentially says, hey, is my landing page really good? We have metrics connected to engagement, like pages per visit. How many pages do people see? And maybe they'll come back later. And the last one I'll recommend is something that measures a micro conversion. So if I did not convert, did I give you my email address so we could contact in the future? Did I watch videos? Did I do something else? Right. So since we're handing out a lot of links today, I will also send Coco a blog post I had done with 3 of my favorite AdWords Google Analytics reports. Okay. And so I have created custom reports, like the best reports I could possibly create. And all you have to do is I'll send a post to Coco, and we have 3 links in that post for 3 of my favorite reports. Okay. And this way, you just click on that link, it will download it into your account. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to create them. I've already done that for you. And they will have these metrics I just spoke about. And they'll automatically be in your Google Analytics account, and it'll be a great way for you to get a jump start on doing your analysis.
Perfect. Well, we'll definitely have to share that with you guys so you can download those. Well, just sort of going off that, I mean, we're not always going to have Avinash with us in these Hangouts on Air to teach us everything we need to know. So do you have any sort of places you always go, blogs or different resources you use to keep learning about, the latest updates with AdWords or sort of the latest ways to analyze data? I mean, your blog, for anyone watching, Occam's Razor, it's a good resource in and of itself, but anything you use?
Yeah, no, if I am engaged with AdWords especially, we have our Inside AdWords blog at Google, and that is always a really, really great place to stay connected with, because not only will you learn about all the new features that are coming out of AdWords, which is important. One of the crazy things about Google is always making things better and releasing new things. And it's like, oh, I want more, like a hungry person. That's a good place to know. But the other thing the Inside AdWords blog does that is really well is it focuses a lot on educational material. Mm-hmm. And so always posting new tips and tricks and case studies. So that's one of my go-to resources. The same thing with the Google Analytics blog. So those 2 are ones that I keep an eye out, just so that I can learn about the new things that are coming, and especially keep an eye out on case studies, because then I can learn from what somebody else is doing that has already worked for them. Mm-hmm. In terms of the industry resources, there are 2 that I look at to broaden my horizon, and one is clickz.com. And clickz.com has a lot of really respected industry sources that write. Some of our peers write on clickz.com as well, but also wide members that write on social and mobile and display and email marketing and everything. So clickz is one of my go-to sources. And if you're only specifically focusing on search, then Search Engine Land is a good one. So those two are good. clickz for a broad view of internet marketing, a wonderful, wonderful source. And Search Engine Land, which is another great source, mostly focuses only on search, but also an excellent industry resource to have handy.
Perfect. Well, we'll have to make sure we check those out. So thanks so much for joining us today, Avinash. As always, it was wonderful. If you are new to AdWords, if you've taken the course and you're deciding you're ready to jump in, know that we also have a lot of great support resources for you as you get started. We have a phone support team. You can email us. You can chat with us. We have the AdWords community, which I'm involved in, so you can get on there. You can tweet us. I mean, we are everywhere. So get in touch with us. We're anxious to help you get started. And then if you're interested in sort of looking at the other Hangouts in there that Avinash and I have done, you can find those on the AdWords Help YouTube channel. So this Hangout on Air will be posted there shortly, and then you can find all three of them together, a nice little package, share with your friends. It'll be great. So thanks again, Avinash. We really appreciate it, and thank you for watching. Have a good day.